Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, welcome in. Brian Higgins with you after that one. A lot to get into. Syracuse 42, Holy Cross 14. Final score today. You heard the phone number, 315-437-7644. Dial in early and often. We'll get you on right out the gate here today after Syracuse has a bit of a bumpy ride today against Holy Cross. Definitely not the smoothest of operations. Certainly not after a first quarter that saw them up 21-0, 1 quarter and 1 play in, but a win in the record books. The Orange improved to 3-1. Big stats numbers across the day for a lot of people that we'll get into throughout our postgame show today. Here the phone number, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Give a ring. Join in on this Saturday afternoon. Full Fran Brown press conference coming up as soon as it gets going. We'll carry that for you live right here on the radio and with the moving pictures on QSportsTalk.com. So all of that coming up as we get into it today. Post-game, after Syracuse knocks off Holy Cross today, 42-14. 42-14 is the final score of this one, with the Orange knocking off Holy Cross in this one. Again, phone lines available, 315-437-7644. That is for ESPN 44. So, man, a lot of different angles to attack this one today. It's kind of one where we saw a game that was won convincingly in many ways. The Orange won this game by 28. We saw a game in which Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord once again put up big stats, ends up throwing for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. But we did not necessarily see what I think we either thought or hoped to see coming into this game, which was not having to need that to win this game. It was not a game in which Syracuse came out and ran the ball down Holy Cross's throat. Yes, they did run for 125 yards. Yes, LaQuint Allen did average 5 yards a carry, and you've seen Willis average nearly 7. LaQuint going for 81 yards and a touchdown, plus adding 54 yards for the air. So it's not like he had a bad game or anything like that. It just did not quite fit the mind's eye necessarily of what we were expecting to see today. Not a lot of running room up front. Still massive questions about the offensive line that have kind of been ever present going back for reasonably years now at this point. But I think we know this. Like, for all the talk in the offseason and everything we heard about physicality and LaQuint, and they're going to run the ball a lot, this is a pass-first football team. That's neither good, bad, or otherwise. That is clearly now a fact at this point, that this team is going to go as far on offense as Kyle McCord can take them. Kyle McCord today, final line, 28 of 50. And his top 10 in attempts in a single game in school history. Yes, against Holy Cross, through 50 passes today for 385. He's been, well into the 300s now in all 4 games to start his career. First quarterback in Q's history to throw for 300 yards in 4 consecutive ball games, and he does so in his first 4 games here at Syracuse. Adds 4 more touchdowns. Does throw the 2 interceptions in the game, much as he did a week ago. So big numbers across the board again for McCord. Huge numbers today for Jackson Meeks, who goes for 10 catches, $161, career highs across the board for the transfer out of Georgia. And it was just a strange game, because it looked like, despite them not ramming the ball down Holy Cross's throat from the get-go, like they sprinted up and down the field and scored repeatedly early in the game. They scored touchdowns on their first 3 drives of the game. And it was a lot of it was McCord slinging the ball around. But, it's 7-0, 14-0. First play of the second quarter, it's 21-0. You think it's going to be just a complete and absolute and utter blowout. Then you give up blown covered 63-yard touchdown. Then you immediately punt and give up another touchdown on the halfback pass the next drive down. All of a sudden, you got yourself a real ball game, and now you can't even switch modes if you wanted to from McCord throwing it to go into the run game. You do get a late touchdown in the half to Pena with less than a minute to go in the half. Then in the second half, though, you had the ball to start the second half. Touchdown came off the board from a penalty that was never really explained. Apparently, there was an illegal man downfield on the deep pass to Hatcher, and you don't end up getting literally your next touchdown until the last play of the quarter. So while this was a game that was never actually in doubt, like not for 1 second was the actual result in doubt of this game. It took us a lot longer, I think, to completely lock it in than you'd expect. Special teams miscues throughout the day. There's a tip field goal, a shanked field goal, a change of kickers, another missed field goal by Jade Noe off the upright. So there's a lot. There's a lot to come out of this game and saying, "Whew, we got to work on this stuff going forward." That said, when you look at a lot of the volume numbers, Holy Cross ran the ball for 9 yards. 9. Syracuse rolled up nearly 350 more yards than Holy Cross in the game. First downs were 32-8. Like, there's a lot of numbers here that show an overwhelming domination of the football game. But they left just a lot of stuff unbuttoned up today that leaves you a little bit like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here through 4 games? 3-1 through September. The opening dome stretch of the season is now buttoned up, wrapped up, and in the history books. And now they start their month on the road. On the road at UNLV next Friday night. On the road at NC State the week after that. A kind of a mini bye with the weekend off, then the Thursday night game at Pittsburgh. So you got 3 tricky road games consecutively coming up here that could very well define which direction this Fran Brown season number 1 is going to go. But I think the main thing we learned today, I don't know if we learned it today, but today we learned that it's not going to change, right? Like, we've seen Kyle McCord sling it around for 3 weeks, and it's been fun to watch. And today you thought, well, they won't need it today. But they both needed it, and it happened again here today. This is the season. We got 8 more games. We're going to watch Kyle McCord fling the ball all over the lot here for the next 2 months, and how well he can do that will define how well the rest of this Orange season goes. He throws for 385 yards today. What is he now? He's now over 1,400 yards 4 games into his Syracuse career. It's a lot of yards. It's a lot of yards today. Multiple targets. Again, not a lot from Aronde Gadsden. Less than last week. 7 targets, 1 catch for 4 yards. Peculiar. Another peculiar outing for Aronde today. No idea what to put on that. We got to see some depth late. We did answer the question of who the backup quarterback is. Michael Johnson Jr. got in at the helm for the last 2 drives. Didn't really learn anything about him beyond that. He's a little slippery in the pocket at one point. But we do know the answer to that question now. And we'll see where it goes from here. But the Orange knock off Holy Cross today by the final score of 42-14. 42-14 is the final score today, with Syracuse knocking off Holy Cross here in the final game of September. And that was a weird game. For a game that was won convincingly, that was won by 4 touchdowns. You come out of it just scratching your head about a lot of things that we're seeing out on the field today. You don't scratch your head about Kyle McCord throwing for 385. You scratch your head about the necessity of Kyle McCord throwing for 385 against Holy Cross. It's a weird balance of things in the game like this today, but I guess once you got to wrap your brain around the fact that things are maybe not like we thought they were going to be heading into this week and heading into this season of a run-first offense, and realizing this is a pass-first offense, this is a Kyle McCord-driven offense, but I guess it all kind of makes a lot of sense here. But McCord, another big day throwing the ball around inside the dome. And we'll see how he does when he heads on the road next week out to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to take on UNLV. All right, let's get our first break out of the way here on the show. We want to keep things moving, so we're ready to go for Fran Brown's press conference down the line. I want to get your calls in as well when we come back. Phone lines available, 315-437-7644. That's for ESPN 44 and our DWITom.com hotline here postgame. Come join us on QSportsTalk.com. Get the chat. We'll be hanging out here over the course of the next hour. We're back here on our postgame coverage brought to you by Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Ford when we come back after this on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Let's go!
Game day.
What's up, Chad? How we doing? Yeah, Holy Cross got worn out in the second half. That's for sure, kid. How many official sacks did Edwards end up with? He had a lot of sacks late in the game. Did they give him all three? 3 sacks for King Joseph. You're all aboard the Yassine Will. I mean, I like Willis, but like if we're gonna bash LeQuint here, LeQuint did run for 81 yards and catch 7 balls for 54. Like he still did tossed out 135 yards of total offense. Did Ole Miss lose? Where's the scoreboard? I'm not on top of the scoreboard today. I've been negligent of the rest of the scoreboard. What happened to BC? Did they hang on? They won? They won by 1? Well, Kentucky's a good team. That's both not a bad loss and a bad loss all at the same time. Louisville up early, 7-0 on the Irish. What else is it? What's our 3:30 games today? Anything good? Notre Dame, Louisville, I guess, is the big one. Bama's not till later. You're my scoreboard, Jigs, Dad? All right. Lead the way. 1 in the morning, say. It'll be later than that, my man. That game kicks at 9. Like if we're lucky, post-game is starting at 12:30. Ready is a lot to ask for, Zach. I'll be here. Ready. They ran the option on their first play. Oh, boy. Yeah, let me get the score of that game up. You know, I'd never really seen Trumbull before. He didn't look at, for a tight end that was like, he's not that big. But it was a very nice play he made. Let's look at these UNLV stats. What do we got going on in this game? Who's this the quarterback that came from Campbell? Who's this guy? I don't know what's with OG Bixby. He's looked like he's never exactly been a guy that's like you look at his face and you're like, yeah, he's all fired up. But, man, I don't know what's going on. Haj Malik Williams, former quarterback of the Camels. All right, so this guy's like the guy, their quarterback next week. It's not like he's never played before. He threw for more than 8,000 yards at Campbell. For whatever that means. So, this is not just because of their quarterback situation, a complete rollover next week. I mean, probably not literally right now, Alex, but like give him an hour. Yeah, I think he's leaving when they're done.
Presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, post game is off and running. Brian Higgins with you. You've heard the phone numbers. 315-437-7644. Phone lines open, available, and ready for you to dial in your thoughts on Syracuse 42, Holy Cross 14. A game that I don't know about you. It has left an odd taste in my mouth. I mean, it's a game they won by 28. It's a game they were never in danger of losing. But when you're playing the FCS, right, it's not, generally, it's not about the win or the loss, right? It's about getting out there, like getting your business done, getting out of the game healthy. Hopefully Syracuse has done that. We saw some injuries during the game to Jaden Bellamy and LaQuinn Allen, though both of them came back in later and both scored touchdowns after they had left the game hurt. Man, how many times did Jaden Bellamy land just right in the flat of his back today? My goodness, that's got to hurt. So hopefully both of them are okay. There was no obvious serious injuries I noticed during the game. But it's one of those things. All right, you got Kyle McCord out after 3 quarters. That's all well and good. You kind of wished you'd put a bow on things a little bit faster. And I think part of the reason you think that, it was going so well so early. You're up 21-0 before you even really settled in, that you thought you'd like, well, just keep this going and then get everybody out and then just kind of, lazy chair it and move on with your Saturday. Not quite how it played out in the middle 2 quarters of this game. The defense was fine for the most part. I mean, you gave up the one busted play for a touchdown. You gave up the one trick play for a touchdown. Besides really those 2 plays, you didn't give up anything all day long. Holy Cross just ran for literally 9 yards the whole game. But let's get into our Orange Insight powered by Stat Leasing. I will keep harping on this because Kyle McCord was 28 for 50 for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. On the face of it, in many ways, that's outstanding, right? You'd like the completion percentage to be a little higher, but 385 and 4 touchdowns is an excellent game. He was one more series away from having the 10th 400-yard passing game in school history. He ended up 9th in school history in pass attempts in a single game against Holy Cross. It is not the game that you would think something like that is going to happen in. So I think the insight we get from this, the main insight I get from this, is all this thought we had for 9 months, for 10 months, physical football team. I get what Fran Brown, I get what his tenets are, but just because that's what you preach doesn't necessarily mean that's the way you're going to play call. You can still have physicality, but they got Kyle McCord. Fran Brown knows what he has in Kyle McCord. Fran Brown likes Kyle McCord. Jeff Nixon likes Kyle McCord. They've all literally known each other for years and years and years and years and years. Literally, as some of them having grown up with each other, going way, way back. Kyle McCord's here for 1 year. This is the Kyle McCord show. This is the Kyle McCord season. One way or another. That's what this is. That's what this is going to be this year. That's what we got. Good, bad, or otherwise. For the most part, it's been very good so far. But it has not been a lean on the run, play action off that. No, it's been pass, and then switch to the run later in the game, which is fine. I just think it's different than what we all generally expected, what we all inferred. It was very vague, all the football talk in the offseason. I don't know how many times I said in the offseason that, man, like, does anyone know what the football's going to be? I've heard Fran talk. We've had Jeff Nixon on the show. I've talked to him. Pleasant guy, really nice guy. I have no idea what the football's going to be. I think, reading between the lines, that this is what the football's going to be. A lot of LaQuinn Allen, power running, lots of running backs, play action, working the tight ends, all that stuff. I think that's what the football's going to be. We've seen a month now. The month I've seen tells me the football this year is going to be Kyle McCord. He's already passed 1,400 yards in the season. He's on pace to set every single season passing record at Syracuse that exists. And I think we now know this. He's going to need to, both health-wise, the Orange need him to be upright for the next 8 weeks, and he's going to need to, success-wise, for Syracuse to win these football games going forward, because that is the Orange offense. The good news here, when you look at that, is what we did find a little bit more of today with our Orange Insight powered by Staff Leasing is, all right, Oronde Gadsden, who was the presumed main weapon for this offense coming into the season. Last week he had 2 catches for 12 yards. Today on 7 targets, Oronde had 1 catch for 4 yards. And still, despite that, Kyle McCord threw for 385. And that's with Zeed Haynes still away from the team for right now. But how about the other Georgia transfer? How about Jackson Meeks? Okay. A guy that was relegated mostly special teams duty in his time down in Athens. 10 catches, $161 and a touchdown. I know it's Holy Cross, but it tells you there's other options. LaQuint Allen out of the backfield. We talk about, okay, where's the running game? LaQuint had 7 catches today for 54 yards. It's been an oddly long time on the TV broadcast today talking about his hand size. Neither here nor there. Trevor Pena, who's been outstanding this season, another receiving touchdown. Umari Hatcher had the long touchdown in the first half, and another one called back by a penalty that one day or another may get explained. Darrell Gill had a fantastic touchdown catch. So even though we've seen Gadsden now shut down for the last 2 games, what we really have seen is that there is a volume of weapons seemingly available on the perimeter on this team that we've not seen around here in a long time. When you get nothing from Gadsden, when Zeed Haynes is not available, and you still get Meeks and Pena and Hatcher and Gill with touchdowns, all right, I'd say that is a good sign. Maybe not a sign you'd like to realize against Holy Cross, but all told, a good sign. It's our Orange Insight powered by Staff Leasing, he said. Let Staff Leasing handle the heavy lifting when it comes to HR and payroll so you can concentrate on scoring big in your industry. Visit staffleasinghr.com to learn more about how they can help your business stay in the game. All right, let's get a quick break out of the way here. When we come back, we'll keep it here until we get the Fran Brown press conference. We'll bring it to you live when we come back. After this, it's our post-game coverage brought to you by Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Ford right here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. It is definitely that, Hoops Rules. He is not really playing slot receiver like he did a couple years ago. Yeah, 7 targets for Gadsden today. Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, and it would have been like, I mean, it was tight end kind of in name only. This year, he's actually playing more of tight end. But I'd say it's more jarring because look at what he did the first 2 weeks of the season. He was dominant. Yeah, tough one for the old lane train. Rook V2. I don't know how many official drops Oronde has, Daniel, but yeah, it's more than you would generally think to credit him with. I think Minnesota, Dan? Like LaQuint left for a bit, but he came back. Bellamy left, but he had the pick 6 after he landed on his back repeatedly. Will Nixon did hobble off late in the game. I do remember that. That looked odd. It was like the second to last drive. That's a fact, Jig's dad. The O-line remains concerning. That's a good question, Zach. What was the official attendance in a sellout that there so are clearly seats available? They have not put it in the stats yet. 0. I think they were more than 0. Yeah, he was, Jen, so I'm not sure if he re-aggravated the same thing or... He seemed very obviously frustrated when he left the field. What did Yasin do today? 4 carries, 27 yards. They used him on kick return as well. King Joseph balled out there in the 4th, 3 sacks. That was just the sense I got of it, Jen, but I don't know that for sure. But I concur. Yeah, what is happening in ULV Fresno? We're scoreless 6 minutes in. Yeah, so open tryouts for kickers. Yeah, Kathy Ireland. Yeah. Does she have eligibility left? Maybe Sinbad. We can get that whole movie. Sinbad on the line. What is his actual position? What do they act? I think they may technically have him listed as a linebacker on the roster. Hang on. Yeah, he's not a huge dude. Hang on. Loading. Well, they got him listed as a D lineman. They got him down for 6'4", 225. So if he can bulk up, if he can toss on 25, 30 pounds over the years, maybe. But he's definitely fast. He's definitely athletic.
Show presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline 315-437-7644.
Alrighty, Brian Higgins with you as we continue our post-game coverage. You're at the phone number 315-437-7644. We're still trying to, it's year 1, Fran Brown. There's lots of things to learn about new coaches, and I'm sure most of you out there you're watching for stuff like play calls and sideline composure, and do they go for it on 4th down and stuff like that. Well, behind the scenes, we got them on the clock for when these post-game press conferences start, because we don't like to be caught like in a commercial when they're starting. So I think we're kind of we're kind of right in the Fran Brown range here for when these things have been getting going here after the first few weeks. He's been like Dino Babers was he was a 15-minute guy, give or take, to the podium. Like last year, we had to go through the motions. We really had to learn Red Autry. Red much quicker generally to the podium than Jim Boeheim was. We had to kind of go the other way. Fran has been taking maybe like a half hour ish to get out to the podium for these post games. So it's just you gotta scout the coaches. There's a lot of behind the scenes scouting that goes on into putting these shows on. I tell you, woo, lots of tough, tricky math to do to get this to you. So sometime this segment, probably soon, we'll be getting you the Fran Brown post-game press conference. I'm sure he'll be asked, I would imagine, about the running game today. Now, when you look at the final numbers are kind of weird. And they got to get sack yardage out of running the ball in college football, because technically Syracuse ran it 39 times for 125 yards. That's just 3.2 per carry. Distressingly, Syracuse was sacked 5 times in this game by, Holy Cross. So that's factoring in. That's losing 25 yards. So Syracuse really ran the ball for like $150 in the game on like 34 carries. So, adjust your numbers. But looking individually at the backs here today, LeQuint ran it 5 yards a carry. Will Nixon was 4 a carry, and Yasin Willis was 6.8 a carry. So solid numbers for all of them. LeQuint, 16 carries for 81 yards. He had that 117-yarder on, I think that was actually the drive they did not score on, if I'm remembering my drives correctly in the third quarter. But that was really only the one carry that I'm remembering in the game where the starters were still out there that it looked like an explosive run. Like there was a big hole, and LeQuitt was able to hit it and really make the most out of it. The other stuff was, perfectly fine running, but nothing revolutionary. I'll be very intrigued to hear if Fran is asked here in his post-game press conference about the run-pass balance. And honestly, this is, I don't want to say it's the last time it'll be important this season, because obviously it's important every game. But I think it is now officially the last time that I'm going to go into a game wondering about it, because it is what it is right now. And with that, Fran Brown post-game press conference starting right now.
Just thankful for the way they played. To be honest with you, those guys did a really, really good job. I thought in the second quarter, fought extremely hard, and they fought the entire game. So hats off to them and his staff and those players, and they're just a really good football team.
Questions? We'll go right across the front here. Start with Mark and then Emily.
After a game like this, Coach, do you have more questions than answers?
I don't know. I don't really even.
Well, they sacked Kyle several times, pressured him. Your special teams, field goals, missed 3 field goals today. Just, those sorts of things.
Well, the sacks, so we were rotating different guys in. We probably shouldn't have rotated guys in that early, and as soon as certain guys got in, they gave up 2 sacks. So we just got to get them better. And the reason you want to put them in, so most of the time people try to wait till towards the end of the game in different times, and then those players' mindset isn't in it. So we try to put guys in early so they know that they're in meaningful time and got in, and that's something that happened. And just to miss field goals, we have to make those kicks. And I wanted to go for it. Certain guys were saying, Coach, we can get it, let's go for it. But I wanted to put the pressure on a field goal kicker and give them an opportunity to kick those field goals, and made them in practice, didn't make them a day. We just have to keep practicing.
What did you see on those attempts? Anything that...
I thought once the first one, they got through a little bit, he looked up fast. So if you watch it as he's kicking it, he's looking up quick to see if they're coming in, and he's not following through with his kick. He was a little bit nervous. The second one, it just went wide on him. I wanted to put Jaden Noah in because I said, okay, let's give Jaden Noah a chance too. Also because this other guy, Jaden, had enough distance, but it went wide right. So we just got to keep getting better at kicking, in the kicking game. Something that we have to fix. Just special teams overall. I had to call a timeout at one point because of the sub situation, and we worked on it all week. If we have an opportunity of being up, who's going in, doing what situation, who's going to do what? And at one situation, one of the twos went in, but we had a chance if we were up by so much that we weren't going to play certain guys, and it just didn't happen that way. And we have to be better. Like, I have to be better. But mainly it was myself that got to get that better. I got to fix the special teams up.
Emily, then Dan.
Fran, I believe at some point this week you had said you had talked to Coach Nixon about getting LeQuitt more touches, getting him more involved in the game. It certainly felt like he was a little bit more today. I guess, were you satisfied with his production today and how much he was used?
I'm always satisfied with how he's being used. You just want a kid to get the ball in his hand so he can showcase his talent. But I'm always satisfied how he's being used. I was happy with his play today, so I thought he did a good job. He always plays physical, and he plays for the football team, so I was definitely pleased with it.
Yeah.
Brandon, just your takeaways of the defense and how they did throughout this game, including Jaden Bellamy, who got his hand on a potential interception and then ended up getting it and get the return toward the end of the game.
I thought that the defense did really well in the first quarter. Second quarter, we made a call. One particular player didn't play in the right zone. They ended up getting a touchdown, and then they came out, and as they got the ball backed up a little bit, and then they didn't look at their man. And, we screaming, hey, the tight end is to play. So we gave up a touchdown. And those 2 drives I thought weren't good at all. That wasn't us. But then the second half, they just played lights out. They done their job. Everybody's eyes, they was keyed on their job. So that helped a lot. And I call him Bell Atlantic. I always say he'll always answer the call. So Bell Atlantic did a good job. He had his hand. Technically, that could have been his 3rd interception if he comes down with it, because there was 2 of them earlier. As he's hitting the ground, he's not holding on to the ball. But he did a good job. He's a good football player, and just got to continue to grow and continue to get better.
Chris, and then Mario, and back. We were talking about Jaden. He didn't get a chance to play a ton the first couple of weeks.
Yep.
Did you say anything to sort of keep him ready, or what was your message?
Just he had to give better effort in practice. It was just his effort, of me seeing him accelerating to the ball, because we know he has a knack for the ball. The kid's been around football a long time, but it was just the effort in practice and the push. And with Marcellus going down, of course they was already in a rotation, but it just has him in the game more now. But those three were our starting corners. Those three rotated a lot, but now he kind of, I guess that sitting that first week didn't sit well with him, and that kind of made him pick it up, and he's been more focused.
Mario, back.
Coach, 4 games into the season, are you pleased with the growth that your team has made, and what steps do you continuously want to see worked on right now?
Certain areas, yes, I am. I'm pleased with what we're doing. I am pleased with where we are. I'm pleased with, not completely pleased with the record, but it is what it is. But then also, we want to keep growing on special teams. We want to continue to get better rushing the passer. You want to continue to get better protecting our quarterback and being able to run the football. So I want to get better at everything every week. You want to continue to get better. I don't think we're nowhere near where we can be, and we just got to keep growing. Just continue to get better, continue to grow.
If I can go off that, along those lines, have injuries played a part of that, of stunning the growth a little bit?
I guess somewhat you could say that, but you got to play with who you got. No one really cares about that. It's just whoever we have, we got to play with, and that's what our job is as coaches. We got to get everybody ready and be able to keep everybody, in the mix and understanding the game plan.
Well, the first one right at the end here, Christian, and then I'll pass it down to Aiden after that.
Coach, what have you seen from Jackson Weeks as he stepped into that more of a higher role as wide receiver 1?
He's just playing good football. I think Kyle throws the ball to everybody, and he's catching the passes that he's throwing him. Because you could easily have said that same thing about Mari Hatcher today. There's a couple passes that didn't count, and then some coming back because of different flags. So, I think Kyle throws the ball to everybody. OG just wasn't on today as it usually is. So, I don't think we really have a wide receiver 1. We just have a good group of guys that can all play football.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win.
Thank
just speaking on Meeks again, you kind of talked about on Monday how, you saw him having great practices at Georgia, but not really that opportunity. Is this kind of what you envisioned performances like this when you kind of brought him over to Syracuse with you?
He made those same catches at practice at Georgia. So, he done those things in practice. He practiced hard. To be able to go to Georgia and play there, you have to be a good football player. And, he's a committed, good young man. And I'm just happy that he's getting the opportunities that he's getting now. I think he's taking full advantage of the passes that are being thrown to him. He's also doing a good job in the run game.
Brandon, you mentioned OG there a moment ago. Just what are the issues preventing him from being more productive right now?
It's a lot of it's more people on the football team, so you don't have to just continue to go to the same guy. Just wasn't his day. But his day will be coming, so I can't really tell you there's anything preventing him from getting the football or anything preventing him from having production. It's just the way the game goes, especially when you get a win. Really, that's the most important thing, being able to get a win. But he's doing a really good job in the blocking game. If you watch, we ran a lot to his side, so he's been able to show that he can do that. He's an NFL player, and he's just continuously getting better in other areas, not just in catching passes all the time, which everyone wants to see him do. And it'll come when the time comes for it. So the more that we open up with everyone else being able to catch, Meeks, Amari, Gil, just all those different guys, that helps a lot with him. And Trevor, it helps so that way he doesn't have to get double.
He's not quite another injury, so he's healthy.
No, he played the whole time. Unless you know something I don't know.
Just ask.
No, he's good.
Fourth row on the corner.
Coach, you talked about increasing the workload for LeQuint, which you did today, but also at the same time, Kyle threw 50 passes, which is a career high for him. Is that just part of the game plan, or is that just how the game kind of flowed in this one?
How the game flowed. We didn't do well when it came to flags. So we were backed up at certain times, so that requires you to throw the ball. You don't want to just keep running, because when you just run in that situation, and that's saying that you're just trying to get into either field goal range or you just want to get out of it so you can punt and flip the field. And we try to score.
You mentioned rushing the passer as something that you guys need to get better at. I guess, like, what's your diagnosis of what the problem is?
I ain't say that was a problem. I just want to get better at it. It doesn't always have to be a problem when something isn't there, because we did end up with like 4 sacks. So I'm not saying there's a problem. You just want to get better. Like, I want to be a better football coach. I want us to throw the ball even better. We want to complete more passes. We want to be better at pass blocking. We want to be better at run blocking. Like, when you're playing, you don't stay the same, because if we stay the same, as he asked me the question, then we're actually getting worse because everyone else is getting better. So you just want to get better at all those things, so that way we have an opportunity, to being a good football team and being able to compete. Like, we're about to go on the road. So I think that if we continue to get better pass rushing, that'll help us on the road. Momentum. We're just looking for every little bit of momentum we can get.
Right here in the third row.
In the fourth quarter, 3 sacks for King Joseph Edwards in this first game. What did you see out of him that made him so effective there in the fourth?
But he just got good, get off on the ball. We've been saying it all week. We met with him earlier in the week and told him if he did X, Y, and Z, he'd be able to play, and he kind of did that right up to the week. But he's a good pass rusher. That's what he's been known for to do. And he has a third down package that we'll make sure that he's able to get into. But King's just maturing. It was a maturing thing with him. I mean, you'd probably have been seeing him, but he just had to continue to mature. He's just a true freshman. So with me, it's a lot of freshmen that can play athletically and talent-wise, but it comes with everything else. Sometimes if you just throw a freshman on the field right away, then you won't be able to fix the other areas, like going to class on time, doing all the other things on time. So it all goes together when you're playing for our football team.
Take a few more for Coach, and we'll start with Dan right in front.
Brandon, looking at what Kyle's been able to do and in this game, but also all season up to this point, over 300 yards passing every single game. You brought him in here to be a leader. You brought him in here to move the ball and to put the team in good positions. Just what you can say about him as a leader.
He's just a good leader. He leads the guys, sometimes vocal, and then sometimes he just goes and talks in his own way, but then he works hard every day. He wants to be, he's working for perfection, wants to be perfect, but, along the way, hopefully he continue to try and be excellent, things of that nature. But he's a real good kid. He's a good leader. He's the leader of our football team. Kids rally behind him. When he's doing well, we do well. If he's not doing well, then we probably won't go. So you're hoping that other guys can be there with him to just be able to carry it along.
And last 2 for Coach will go right here on the end. Chris, and then right here in the second row. You go first.
Coach, you mentioned some of the penalties that left out big plays. What do you guys have to do to clean that up?
We're gonna handle that in practice. Yeah, we gotta do that. We gotta handle that in practice. And guys gotta bend. Some of them are holding because you're being lazy, not bending and moving your feet. You're just lunging and grabbing. And then there's others which I don't even know if I could say, I don't agree with certain things, but it's just some of them are part of football, and then some are lazy. Yeah.
Chris, last question.
Brandon, you mentioned the pass rush. I think it was much better in the second half. Did you guys dial up more pressures, or was it just guys were better in their matchups and winning them?
I think just better in their matchups and just winning them, and just being able to understand, okay, don't relax now. Because once we were up 21-0, I think that the mentals of some guys were they kind of, went opposite. And then when they seen it come back, oh, snap, now let's go, And then me going in the locker room, saying the things that I said at halftime and being able to get us to get ready to go out and play football, because it's important on the defensive side of the ball that we play the right way, And then on the offensive side of the ball, there were some things that we wanted to do when it came to the third quarter. We just weren't able to score, but they were moving and going towards the right direction. So just want to be able to start fast in that first quarter and third quarter. So.
Are you willing to share what that halftime message sort of was?
No, my language probably wasn't the right way, so I don't want to share that. But it was just, in all reality, are we playing the way that we want our families and we want to represent the Fs? That's really what it was about. Are you guys this what you want people to look at the tape and see this is what Syracuse is about? And the guy said no, so I was like, oh, so let's go show it. Let's put on tape who we are. And that's really what it was all about.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Be safe.
Some naughty words from Fran at halftime, so we're not going to hear that. But yeah, I would imagine I'm sure that was a lot of it. Like, you look at the first quarter, Holy Cross couldn't, move the ball an inch. You're up 21-0 after a quarter in a play, and then it was just kind of for the rest of the half, for the most part. I imagine Fran would not have been the happiest fellow of all time to watch that going on. So, a little Fran Brown post-game press conference for you, as always, presented by William Mattar. Hurt in a car, call William Mattar at 444-4444. All right, we're going to hit our final break here. Still time for calls when we come back at 315-437-7644. We may get some players for you during the break if you tune in to us on QSportsTalk.com. So we'll come back with all of that right after this here on our postgame show, brought to you by Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Ford, all next year on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Continue to grow every single week. Like Kyle said, just him having trust in me to make those plays. When I do have a DB on me, just having the trust in me to come down and make the play. That's the best thing about it, is that him just, doing his job right so I can do my job right.
We'll go in the back row, Mario.
LaQuint and Kyle, what was this week like in practice, coming off your first loss and, starting fast the way you did? Can you just kind of walk me through what this week was like?
This week was very, physical. We wanted to bring the physicality out today and all week, and that was just the main thing, just be physical, more physical than an opponent.
Yeah, I think going off what LaQuint was saying, I think the biggest thing that we were trying to focus on was that it doesn't matter necessarily who we play. It's Syracuse versus Syracuse, and practice this week was tough, but we had 4 really good days, and so that's what it needs to be. I think that's kind of the expectation now, is that every single day is a tough physical day, and it's just how it has to be.
Right here, Christian on the end.
Jackson, as you've slowly gotten more and more reps as the year has gone on, how's your mentality maybe changed as you're getting more in a more increased role in this offense?
My mentality is always the same, attack. That's how I've always been, since I was a kid. But it's just building that confidence. If you don't play with confidence in football, it's going to show on the field. So just being able to the team having confidence in me, Kyle having confidence in me, Quinn having confidence in me, and I'm having confidence in myself.
We'll go right in front of Emily and then Brent right after.
You had one of your bigger performances of the season so far today. I know you're a team player guy, but has it been tough not getting as many touches on the ground as maybe you would have hoped going into the season?
Nah, I'm a team player. We came out to win today, and we're ready to get back to work next week. You know what I'm saying? And just trusting my reads and stuff like that, and just taking advantage of every opportunity that I need to do, I feel like.
Coach Fran had said that he maybe talked to Coach Nixon about getting you more involved this week on the ground. Was that a conversation that made it to you at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We always talk about that, but, we came out today and we got the win, and that's all that matters to me.
For any of you guys that want to answer, Coach Fran was telling us he had a pretty passionate halftime speech to you guys. How did you take that to heart into the next half?
Similar to what I was saying earlier, the message wasn't, I would say the message was just about Cuse versus Cuse, and that was the biggest thing, that we weren't quite playing to our standard on offense or on defense. And I feel like the defense really took that message well. The offense, I feel like there were a lot of good things to take away, but didn't finish the drives off the way we should have, especially in the second half. I think we moved the ball and then just didn't put any points up on the board. So, like you said, it was definitely a good speech to hear. And anytime Coach Fran gets going, that's coming from the heart.
Jackson, career high, 10 receptions, 161 yards for you today. Your career high. Just what kind of performance does this today mean to you?
I just got to give it all to God, honestly. God blessed me to have this ability, and I'm just lucky to go out there and show it.
Thanks. Yeah, Jackson, kind of building off of that, having discussions with Fran about going from Georgia over to here, was this a game that you kind of envisioned having performances like this and being able to contribute to a big run like this?
Honestly, every game, you always envision yourself of having the best game of your career. But this game, I was just in the right positions at the right time. And like I keep saying, everybody did their job right, so I was able to do my job.
For any of you guys that want to answer, after this game, you only play 2 games from now here until Thanksgiving, so a lot of games on the road. How do you kind of manage a stretch like that where you're not really – you started the season with 4 consecutive home games, and now you have to go on a big road stretch?
Like Kyle said, it's Cuse versus Cuse. So no matter where you lay the ball down, no matter what field we play on, it's going to always be Cuse versus Cuse. So we got to go out there and play to our standard, and we got full faith in ourselves to be able to execute at a high level.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
Brian Higgins with you. You heard the phone number if you'd like to join in for the last few minutes here today, 315-437-7644. If you've been with us during the commercial break on QSportsTalk.com, you've enjoyed hearing from Kyle McCord, LaQuinn Allen, and Jackson Meeks, who's coming off a career high today. For those on the radio, I think they might still be up there. Let's see if we can catch just the last few minutes with the 3 offensive weapons up at the postgame podium here today.
To the skill players on the offense, they work hard and they get open, and I think we had 300 something yards passing today, maybe 400. So I think it's just a combination of all the hard work that we put in as well as just the preparation.
Look, like everybody said, right, there was a little bit of focus of trying to get the run game going this week. It was better. Obviously, some people are going to say it's Holy Cross. I guess. How do you assess how the run game worked today, and where can you guys sort of improve in it moving forward?
It's definitely more room for improvement that comes with film and just, sticking together like I talked about previously, and just playing football, just have fun. I feel like the more we have fun, the more better we do.
Kyle, what were you seeing from the defense that gave you confidence from the deep ball early on?
Holy Cross defense? Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to take away as a defense, and they left us some one-on-one opportunities on the outside, and like I said earlier, with Jackson and all the guys, really, I feel like 50-50 balls are in favor of us. I feel like it's really 90-10. And then we schemed up the one play action to Gill. That was nice to kind of get that. I think it was the second drive rolling. And then kind of as the game went on, they started playing in a more too high shell, trying to eliminate those deep shots. But when they're there, I think we did a good job of capitalizing on them when we were taking shots.
By Jaden Bellamy as well. We'll start with Dan right in front.
Jackson, when you scored, you were very serious on that. You looked over at their crowd and just had that kind of stare. Was there something for you in that catch and in that end zone touchdown that you had that you wanted to make a statement, not just for this game, but as you move forward?
Honestly, when I do get in this, I don't really realize what I do. I'm just happy I got there. But I didn't mean anything from staring at them. I just be in the moment. So, honestly, if I continue to get there, of course, that'd be great. But if we just continue to win, that's the biggest goal, honestly.
That's it. Sorry. Emily and Brent, yep.
Jaden, just kind of walk us through that pick you had. I know you had a couple ones that came close earlier in the game, so walk us through what you saw and then the feeling, obviously, of getting that third one.
Yeah, they called cover 2, and basically my whole mindset was because they had to call the timeout. So when I got out there, I already told Fran and Coach Stewart that I was going to just play soft Kathy, and I was just going to read. I was going to just read 2 and 3, and once 2 broke out, I just knew it was mine. And then from there, everyone was blocking for me, so it was pretty much easy from there.
Coach Fran said he maybe had a conversation with you going into this game, just wanted a little bit more out of practice, and then wanted to see a little bit more in this game.
Yeah, he's always been harping on practicing hard and because he always knows that you practice hard, the outcome in the game is going to be easy. Everything's going to come together. So he's just been harping on practicing hard, and he just knows, like, he always tells me, like, your time is now. Go show everybody who you are. So yeah.
Kyle, what do you think the issues are right now in getting OG more involved in the offense?
Yeah, I feel like obviously the first 2 weeks kind of burst out onto the scene. Well, I wouldn't say onto the scene. It kind of just picked up where he left off. And then last week, I feel like they did a good job trying to take him away. It felt like every single play they had underneath coverage as well as a safety over top of him pretty much everywhere he went. And, I'm sure that they made that an emphasis to take him away. But then this week, I feel like I missed him a few times. He was open and I didn't give him the ball. And then, we were just off on a few. But it's a long season, and just the way that he works, I'm not worried about getting on the same page necessarily. I know that it'll come. Just continuing to practice and get reps, and I'm not worried at all. And he's not one of the guys that's pissed off that he's not getting the ball. He's going to continue to do his job regardless of if he's getting the ball or not. So it is my job to make sure that he does get the ball, obviously, and I need to do a better job of that. And so I think that's something that I'll watch in the film room and, just try to get better.
Last two right here on the end first, and I'll finish with Dan.
Jaden, Coach Friend, I know we talked about it a little bit as well, said he challenged you at the beginning of the week, trying to maybe step up to another level in practice. When he told you that, how did you respond to that personally? And were there any things in your head that you kind of set for yourself? I need to do this and this in practice this week to impress.
No, I think just coming into practice, I was always just gonna pray hard because we do good on good, and I always go against Meeks. So going against the Meeks and Trev and Daryl and everybody, Mari, I feel like it just gets me prepared for the game. So I really wasn't thought in my head or nothing like that.
And then last question to Dan.
For Kyle and LeQuint, just what you can say about the balance between the pass and the rush and what you're trying to do moving forward here. 3-1 record, going on the road, and just that balance that you have and the talent that you have.
I feel like we got talent all around the board. And whatever it takes to win, I'm with it. I like it.
Yeah, like he said, there's a lot of good players on the field, and I feel like today was a step in the right direction, being more balanced with the run, the pass. I feel like and sometimes in previous weeks, especially last week, we got pretty pass heavy trying to play catch up. So I think when you start fast, it allows you to be in control of what you're calling run or pass. But I think at the same time, the defense kind of, I wouldn't say dictates what you do, but you're going to, react off what they do with, if they want to play coverage, probably going to run the ball. If they want to, pack the box, we'll throw the ball, vice versa. So just a combination of those things. And like I said, I think today was a step in the right direction.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there they are, the players. Come on, Kyle. We love Kyle, and don't miss the Kyle McCord Show weekly coming up again this Tuesday at 11, and he'll be on with me, of course, during the week on the 315. You gotta let LeQuint have the walk off there, man. Whatever it takes to win, he's with it. Yeah. LeQuint, he's not a man of a lot of words, but he gets his point across. I enjoy the LeQuint Allen experience so far. But we've heard from Fran, we've heard from players. Time now here. Time to sneak in a call here if you'd like, as we're getting toward the end of it at 315-437-7644. But time to talk about improving the team from Wadham's Enterprises, getting you ready now for Friday night, late night in Las Vegas. It actually won't be late in Las Vegas. The game kicks off at 6 o'clock in Las Vegas. The time zone thing, though, is it will be a 9 o'clock kickoff time here in Syracuse. Our pregame coverage will start on ESPN Radio as early as 7. TK with the TK tailgate on Q Sports Talk as early as 6 next week. I'll be on at 4 as well for the 315. So you can, if you're not getting ready for the game on Friday, you're just not trying coming up this week. But I think a lot of the improving the team we're talking about this week will actually be a look at UNLV with everything they've gone through in the last week. The loss of their quarterback, Matthew Sluka. Talked about that ad nauseum this week. Well, he's been replaced by former multi-year starting quarterback at Campbell, former Campbell, Haj Malik Williams. So he's making his first start today for UNLV, and he's got a touchdown on the ground. UNLV's also scored on a block punt against Fresno State here. This is a game in Vegas today, league game in the Mountain West, which for this moment still exists. UNLV leads this game 14-0. They're sitting just inside the top 25 in the coaches poll. So this is a real football game next week, even with the loss of Sluka. Let's not look at that and think, okay, that makes this a rollover game. Absolutely not. Vegas has a very good defense. They have a backup quarterback, now their starter, that has played a lot of college football, more than 8,000 passing yards in his career. So UNLV has been improving their team, even though they have lost their starting quarterback. As far as Syracuse improving the team from Wadham's Enterprise, all right, we got to see what's going on with the kicking game for next week. Brady Denenberg has looked way off all season, had the 2 missed kicks today. One got tipped. One was just a duck hook to the left. Jaden O made his first appearance. He hit an extra point, and then his 40-yard field goal doinked off the right upright. Which way will they go? Place kicking next week in a game that figures to be a lot closer than what we saw today. And what will we get out of the offensive line? We heard it from Fran Brown that some of those sacks in the first half, they were trying different combinations when McCord was in the game, and it did not work out well. I think you're kind of at the point of the season. You got to lock in on your starting 5 and see if that can improve over the course of the rest of the season. Because if that line can tighten up just a little bit here over the course of the next few weeks, just a little bit, that you got a shot here. You got a shot here if they can tighten up just a little bit. It's improving the team here from Wadham's Enterprises. Wadham's is improving their team. They have home daily CDLA driving positions available for experienced drivers and also offers CDLA training at no cost with a job waiting upon completion. Call recruiting today. It's 800-334-1314. 800-334-1314. That's improving the team from Wadham's Enterprises. All right, that'll wrap things up for our post-game coverage here today. Again, the final score, Syracuse knocks off Holy Cross. A little more interesting than the final score indicated, but the Orange take it by 4 touchdowns today, 42-14, to improve to 3-1 and officially put September in the rear view. We'll be next talking football with you next Friday night as Syracuse heads out to UNLV for a 9 o'clock kick time at Allegiant Stadium against the Rebels of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. All of our normal coverage applies there. We'll also be back with our normal daily shows on Monday. Orange Nation coming at noon. Full Fran Brown press conference live during their show at 1. Newhouse afternoon at 2. I'll be with you in the 315 this upcoming Monday at 4 o'clock. With that, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy on Monday.